17.5 points. Ohio State opening by that much of to beat Notre Dame here. Obviously, the Irish aren't used to being in this kind of a position, being that big of a dog. What do they have to do to go on the road at Columbus to pull off this upset?
Well, I think overall for Notre Dame, it's going to come down to playing their game. You can't get caught up in everything that Ohio State has on the offensive side of the ball. You have to do what you can do in terms of playing great defense. This is a unit on the defensive side of the ball that Marcus Freeman is obviously very, very accustomed with, very, very excited about seeing. Now they've got a new defensive coordinator in Al Golden. Isaiah Foskey on that defensive line is going to have to be able to get pressure on C.J. Stroud. So we'll see overall if they're able to contain what Ohio State can do offensively. I also think they're going to have to run the ball with that excellent offensive line and Harry Hiestand back coaching them.
What do you think, Greg?
I think the biggest thing is just eliminating explosive plays. When you play against Ohio State, and I've seen this point blank on so many different occasions, if Ohio State gains like 7 yards, it's almost as if they feel like that's a bad play. So I think you have to, if you're Notre Dame's defense, and Roddy just mentioned, they have great personnel at so many different spots. They have to keep the ball in front of them. They have to force Ohio State to matriculate their way down the field. And when they get in the red zone and when the field condenses, that's when they have to be super aggressive. If they can force Ohio State to kick field goals as opposed to scoring touchdowns, I think they have a legitimate chance. But it really comes down to eliminating explosive plays and doing a great job by not allowing the defense to get the ball thrown over their head.
I mean, those little bits, right, those little victories, holding to a field goal instead of a touchdown, that's when you go, okay, you start to believe. But these Irish, they have nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting this to happen, right? So who knows? Let's see. How about the Oregon game in Georgia, 11th ranked Ducks, guys? They are coming to Athens to face the defending champions. So, Roddy, the Bulldogs defense returning just 4 of 11 starters from last year's title team. What should we expect from this defense?
Well, I expect them to be very good. They're talented all over the field, but overall, I want to see how they respond at a couple of really key positions, linebacker and safety in particular. Not only are they losing to Kobe Dean, who is a heart and soul type guy on that defense, they also lose Quay Walker, who was a first-round pick, Channing Tindall, who is an excellent player for them, and Lewis Cine out of the secondary was one of the absolute best tacklers in the country. So replacing those key positions, while they are talented, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith are really good, replacing those key positions from a leadership standpoint, I think is going to be the biggest thing that I'm watching for against Oregon.
Okay, what about Stetson Bennett, Greg? Because, I mean, what a story that was, right? He goes from walk-on to the starting quarterback in the national championship game. As far as growth, though, he's a young quarterback. What will you be watching for out of him on Saturday?
Well, I think the biggest thing is going to be a new-look Georgia team, and Roddy just referenced the challenges they may have in the secondary, the challenges they may have on defense, so they might have to score more points. So I want to see, how does Stetson use his matchup advantages? If there's one thing that you can look at this Georgia team and say they are totally different from last year, it's that they have not one but 2 great tight ends, headlined by Brock Bowers, who's a matchup nightmare. He's like Gronkowski, maybe not quite as big, but has speed that rivals that of Jimmy Graham back in the day. And then at running back too, they have really good receivers, so I don't want to overlook them. But the matchups are created with tight ends and running backs. They have 2 running backs in Milton and McIntosh that can create a lot of problems against linebackers in coverage. So how do they use the matchup advantages to their disposal and create one-on-ones with favorable matchups involving Bulldogs against less than favorable matchups involving Ducks?
Bulldogs and Ducks, I like that. By the way, it's been 8 months since Stetson Bennett led them to their first national title since 1980. We'll see if this wonderful storyline continues, but he's not really sneaking up on anybody at this point for sure. Greg McElroy, thank you. And, you know, I'm going to call you Roddy White just for the heck of it, because that's what I've done for like 3 years now. Roddy Jones, thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.